All right, Matt, thank you for that live report. Two Western Mass communities are racing against the clock tonight, trying to figure out if they'll lose federal funding in just 2 weeks. The uncertainty is leaving local officials scrambling to identify which programs and services could be at risk.
Western Mass News reporter Reagan Lockery is live in studio with what we know so far. Reagan.
That's right, Amanda and Chris. Imagine being told your budget could be cut in 14 days, but no one can tell you by how much or which programs will be affected. That's the reality tonight for officials in Amherst and Northampton. They're reviewing every federal dollar they receive, trying to figure out what might disappear. The clock is ticking. February 1st is just 2 weeks away, and that's when the Trump administration said they plan to withhold federal funds from sanctuary cities nationwide. Amherst and Northampton are 2 of 8 Massachusetts communities that could be impacted. Both limit local law enforcement's cooperation with federal immigration authorities. Some also offer social benefits to immigrants lacking legal status.
These Democrat mayors and governors are doing this over what? Over the lawful and legitimate law enforcement operations to remove violent criminals from the streets.
But here's the problem. Local officials say they haven't been contacted directly about any formal cuts, and they don't know how much money is at stake, and they don't know which programs might be affected. That could mean anything from police equipment grants to road repair funding, from senior meal programs to community development projects. Amherst town manager tells us they're trying to prepare for what might be cut. Northampton's mayor office declined to comment. Now, which is 14 days until the deadline, we did reach out to Congressman Richard Neal's office to see if this is legal, but have not heard back. We'll be tracking which specific programs could be at risk and what it could mean for taxpayers. Reporting live in studio, Reagan Lockery for Western Mass.